is going on, guys? Thank you so very much for joining me right here on Off the Script. This is episode 302, part number 1 for your Saturday, November 30th, 2019. Hopefully you guys had a great Thanksgiving holiday. We are on our way into the December month. Santa Claus is going to be here before you know it. And Mrs. Claus hopefully isn't too far behind Santa Claus. Hopefully she's bringing some gingerbread cookies and some snickerdoodle hot chocolate. Always got to go with the snickerdoodle, man. And I am never far behind at all with your weekly news right here on the podcast. And we got a lot of it today. We have so much news to go over, including the Corey Graves, Mauro, Ranallo situation. Did you guys realize that Mauro Ranallo is back commentating, but not for WWE? He was on Showtime Boxing this week. So I'm glad to see that he is back doing what he does best, better than anybody. And I'm glad to see that he is in good mental health, that he came back to Showtime Boxing. Why didn't he come back to the WWE? I got every little bit of information regarding public enemy number 1, Corey Graves. His hollow apology on After the Bell, who he actually apologized to, what Fightful and Dave Meltzer are reporting, and why WWE internally thinks that Corey Graves is actually the victim in all of this. I don't believe what I'm hearing, and everybody in WWE, including Vince McMahon, should be absolutely ashamed of how they handled this situation. Also, I got the weekly ratings. I got the weekly ratings for Raw. I got the weekly ratings for SmackDown. We got Seth Rollins burning it down, as always, as far as the ratings go. And Seth Rollins is getting ready to apologize to the Raw roster on Monday night, this coming Monday. He should apologize for actually being such a sniveling pussy for the last 6 months. SmackDown Live seen the new face of the Firefly Funhouse. I don't know whether it's Daniel Bryan's beard or if it's a newly clean-shaven Daniel Bryan. I don't know. But apparently the new face of the Firefly Funhouse is going to cost you guys $6,500. Yes, I am not kidding you. I am not joking at all. Bray Wyatt's new custom title is going to cost you a down payment on a car. Absolutely ridiculous. I don't have the AEW ratings. I don't have the NXT ratings. Those will be available on Monday. So we got the Raw and SmackDown ratings as well today here on the podcast. Also, the Viking Raiders. Why did the Viking Experience name get axed? Did it have anything to do with fan backlash, or was it actually Hanson and Rowe going to Vince McMahon and saying, bro, we don't like this name. Can we possibly get this changed before we make our Monday Night Raw debut? I got the Viking Raiders convincing Vince McMahon not to go with the Viking Experience. Charlie Caruso now has an issue with Dave Meltzer. WWE applies for the ECW barely legal trademark. I wonder why. Vince McMahon not happy with the Survivor Series main event. Why the main roster was visibly upset following the Survivor Series. Why the women's triple threat match between Shayna Baszler, Bayley, and Becky Lynch actually main evented the Survivor Series. And Shayna Baszler reportedly wanted on the main roster. You could see her as early as Royal Rumble season in 2020. I got so much news today. It's going to be great. And thank you guys so much for joining me here on the podcast. If you missed any of my previous videos, it's been a light week. I actually took a little bit of a break due to the holiday this week. So make sure you guys go and check all the other videos that are on the channel right now. We got Monday Night Raw. We got AEW Dynamite. I took a break this week on Tuesday. I gave myself an off day, so there is no Off the Script Elites. That is my personal one-on-one podcast where we talk about AEW news. It's just me and AEW. It's not WWE, it's not NXT, it's not anything else. It's only AEW. I took the week off, and I gave myself a little bit of a rest. We will be back at it on Tuesday with Off the Script Elite next Tuesday. AEW Dynamite. You guys want to see my review of Dynamite this week? The Chris Jericho Thanksgiving thank you celebration, and then Chris Jericho defending the AEW World title against Scorpio Sky. That is on the channel right now. Finn Balor, to me, is the most intriguing character in all of the WWE, and yes, I think he's more intriguing right now than The Fiend Bray Wyatt. Him and what he's doing on NXT is very interesting, and NXT was awesome again this week. That review went up on early Thanksgiving morning on Thursday. Obviously, we covered SmackDown last night. Go and check all that stuff out if you guys missed it. Links will be down in the description of this very video. Follow me on social media at JD from NY206. That's on Twitter and Instagram. Hit that subscribe button as well down below. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel if you guys enjoy what you hear every single week. We are the #1 leader in news and rumors, and this is the #1 podcast anywhere in the wrestling community right here on YouTube. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button and turn on that bell for all notifications. If you guys want to support the podcast via Patreon, you guys can certainly do that. That is patreon.com/JD from NY206. And today's podcast is brought to you by my good friends over at Harry's. You guys know the deal. Harrys.com/script. And this holiday season, there's no better gift than Harry's. I know that shopping for that special guy in your life is very difficult. What do you get your dad? What do you get your grandpa? What do you get your uncle? You always go to those lame gifts. Please don't be like WWE Creative and be boring. Don't be like WWE Creative and be uncreative. Please. No underwear, no socks, no t-shirts, no ugly looking sweater. I want you guys to give a gift that is both thoughtful and practical. Harry's. Harrys.com/script. Listeners of my show, when you use our unique link, can get $5 off any Harry's shave set by going to harrys.com/script, and you also get free shipping. Yes, guys, that's free shipping that ends on December 16th, so act fast. It's a practical gift that he'll actually use. Harry's makes sharp blades that last. German engineered and award-winning. Backed by a 100% quality guarantee. If he doesn't love his shave, you guys get a full refund. It's a great deal for you and for him. Holiday gift sets start at $20. That's within Secret Santa limits. And Harry's blade refills are as low as $2, so your guy will save money over time. It comes ready to gift in a handsome holiday gift box, and your gift actually gives back. 1% of each sale will be donated to charitable organizations. As a special offer of fans of Off the Script, we've partnered with Harry's to give you guys $5 off any shave set, including their limited edition holiday sets, when you go to harrys.com/script. And you guys are going to get that free shipping as well. Each Harry's shave set comes with a weighted handle with the option to engrave. That is awesome. 5 blade razor cartridges, foaming shave gel for a rich lather, travel blade cover to protect your blades, and it's packaged in a handsome holiday gift box. Guys, remember, free shipping ends December 16th. Act now. Just go to harrys.com/script and give the gift of Harry's this holiday season. All right, man, let's talk about the week that was WWE, and there's no better way to start the show off than with Seth Rollins burning the ratings down, as always, on a Monday night during Raw. What were the ratings like this week for Monday Night Raw after what I thought and what you guys thought was a successful Survivor Series pay-per-view? It was one of the better pay-per-view shows that WWE has done all year. WWE Raw averaged a 2.11 rating. It's 2.11 million viewers on Monday night. That is the second lowest. I always love, man, it always brings a smile to my face when I see the word lowest in the WWE ratings report. The second lowest non-holiday number of the modern era. Yet the show is refusing to change. The people in charge of this show refuse to change the format and the overall vibe and the feel of this show. The show continued the typical trend of seeing viewers drop off in the third hour. However, that second hour featuring the U.S. Championship storyline kept most of the viewers from hour one because everybody is a fan of Rey Mysterio. And everybody figured that Rey Mysterio was going to go on to win that Fatal 4-Way, and then when he actually won the Fatal 4-Way, everybody was really interested to see if he could pull off what they were calling a miracle against AJ Styles. Didn't make any sense, and we all know why Rey Mysterio won the United States Championship anyway. AEW. He's got a contract coming up, folks, and Cody Rhodes has made absolutely every fucking power move possible, and he's kept nothing secret about wanting Rey Mysterio in AEW. Of course he wants Rey Mysterio in AEW. He would book him correctly over in All Elite Wrestling, where WWE now is finally just starting to book Rey Mysterio right, and that is after a year of doing nothing. So now all of a sudden Rey Mysterio is getting top-notch creative, and they're giving him championships, and they're giving him a run at the WWE title. They're including Dominic in his storylines, and he's getting Brock Lesnar as opponents, right, in a big marquee match. Why do you think that is? Why didn't Rey Mysterio get that type of treatment when he came into the WWE in year one? Why did it take up until now, at the end of year two, when his contract is about to expire? Because they want to keep him. Now, we don't know where Rey Mysterio's head lies as far as a decision, if he wants to stay or if he wants to go. We could be sitting here just talking bullshit. But that is the real reason. Maybe WWE is using Dominic as leverage. Maybe signing Dominic to the WWE is leverage for WWE to get Rey Mysterio to stay in the WWE. We don't know. We don't know what Rey Mysterio wants to do with his career. For all we know, he's dead set on retiring after the WWE. We don't know. Anyway, Monday Night Raw was not all that good. I mean, Rey Mysterio winning the United States Championship was a cool moment, even though it was for the reasons that we just mentioned. Rollins and Owens in the main event died. The end angle with AOP came off as really bad. It was a shitty, I don't want to say it was a shitty booking decision, but the entire way it was produced and the way it came off on television was not exciting whatsoever, and that's all WWE's fault. They're to blame for that. Rollins is dead, and the AOP has been booked like shit ever since they got called up from NXT. So why would we care about them unpredictably being put into this angle when we didn't give a shit about them in the first place? And why would we give a shit about them when you told us in pretty much every possible way not to give a shit about them? I mean, for Christ's sake, you made them into a running urine joke. Why would people care? So we had Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens fighting over nothing in the main event. Charlotte versus Asuka. It was decent. Nowhere near the previous battles that they've gone on and done together. And that was pretty much it. Humberto? Yeah, Humberto Carrillo. Yeah, sure thing. That's why Vince McMahon is done with Humberto Carrillo. I think that's in tomorrow's podcast. We'll talk about that. So the 3 hours on Raw, which is killing them every single week, it would be amazing to see how Monday Night Raw not only would produce in the ratings, but it would be amazing to see how they would produce when they only have to write 2 hours of television and not 3. I wish we lived in a world like that. 8 p.m., 2.24. 9 p.m., 2.19. And then 10 p.m., 1.90. Rollins burning it down. As always, there is absolutely Rollins in every segment. You can guarantee that the ratings will be down. This week, NFL football should not be blamed for the drop-off. Monday Night Football and the game wasn't close in any sense of the word. Generally, you would expect a bump coming off the Survivor Series. However, that didn't happen. Now, we don't know how many people came out of the Survivor Series interested. Maybe NXT really did make that much of a difference. Knowing that the shows were going to go right back to the normal way that the shows should be booked, with brand exclusivity and separate rosters, maybe everybody coming out of the Survivor Series figured, well, NXT and the unpredictability of NXT and the marquee matches with NXT being added are not going to be on WWE television anymore, I don't care to watch Raw. Because I know it's going to be the same formulaic, stale, boring, uncreative garbage that it was before the Survivor Series. Did Becky, Baszler, and Bayley and the disappointment that was that main event, did that have anything to do with the Raw ratings being bad post-pay-per-view? I don't know. That match was an utter disappointment, and that left everybody with a bad taste in their mouth. Or is it because of Seth Rollins, and is Seth Rollins that undesirable as far as fan engagement? I don't know. That's definitely a reason, but the overall show of Monday Night Raw just gives off this vibe. It gives off this vibe of just ordinary. There's nothing special about the show. There's nothing must-see about the show. There's nothing exciting about the show. They don't go out of their way to do things differently. Nothing makes sense on this show. You know, I sit here and I dissect the show the way I'm supposed to as an analyst, as a podcaster, to give you guys talking points. One big thing that I raised, and this is why people aren't engaged. People know the show is booked on a day-to-day basis or week-to-week basis. This show was booked on Monday afternoon. And you can tell just by that fatal four-way. How many of those guys in that fatal four-way actually deserved a shot at the United States Championship? None of them. None of them. Drew McIntyre's been a loser ever since he debuted on Monday Night Raw. We had Ricochet. He's been a loser ever since being called up from NXT. We got Rey Mysterio in there. He just fought Brock Lesnar at the pay-per-view on night before for the WWE title. And as a consolation prize, they're giving him a shot at the United States title? And Randy Orton, who has he beaten on his way to a United States Championship? It's done in a rush fashion. And WWE rather get the instant gratification that night instead of booking those guys who right now are in the middle of a great mid-card. Why aren't you booking those guys in matches, building wins and losses, and building a number one contender so that when they finally get to AJ Styles, the match actually has some sort of meaning? Brock Lesnar's not going to be there for the next 2 months. They got nothing planned for him until the Royal Rumble. So the United States Championship is going to be your World Championship. It's going to be the one title that everyone is fighting over until Brock Lesnar loses that WWE Championship. To whom? I don't know. And at this point, I have absolutely no interest in anybody on that Raw roster fighting Brock Lesnar. The show was a mess. Now, the show itself, to me, I didn't like it. 1 segment, 2 segments is not going to save a 16-segment show. Now, WWE, they're in the process of hopefully turning Seth Rollins heel. We don't know if that's the case. Monday night was not a heel turn. Monday night was a step in the right direction, hopefully. Now, I do not give WWE any credit. I'm not giving them the benefit of the doubt here because every time we do, they always leave us disappointed. Now, Rollins is supposed to come on Monday, this coming Monday, and apologize to what he said to the Raw roster in his clown hall meeting on Monday, this current Raw. Now, WWE, I don't know what they have planned. Most likely, Seth will come out and say that he loves Monday Night Raw, and he's been watching Monday Night Raw since his childhood, since he was a little boy, and he's always wanted to make the show the best show on the planet. Meanwhile, this guy should be coming out here, and he should honestly, and I said this weeks ago, he should have come out and pulled a Bret the Hitman Hart in 1997 and literally shit on the fans. Fuck the roster. Seriously, the roster has nothing to do with you. You know, you did everything you could for the show. You should be directing your anger to us. We're the ones who are not on your side, not the fucking roster. We're the ones that don't like you anymore. Please, shit on me, because that's what we want. Shit on the fans. Tell the fans that you tried everything in your power to make this show better for us, and all we did was turn our back on you. That's all you have to do. Go back and watch the promo from Bret Hart in 97 where he shit on the American fans before saying, I'm here with the Hart Foundation, Canada, 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 fuck the United States. That's all. That's all you gotta say. Something along those lines. Please. This guy needs a Bret the Hitman Hart injection from 1997. Now, I don't know where AOP is going with this entire thing. Maybe AOP are going to be his new Shield. I would hope so. And I mentioned this. I just find it funny how Seth Rollins and the heat that he's getting right now, it was pretty much sucked out of the Roman Reigns agenda. It was put on Seth Rollins. And now he is on his way, hopefully, to being a heel on Monday nights. And he's almost, if this is the way that they're going, setting himself up with a new Shield. This could be a good thing if WWE executes it correctly. Because not only will we get the Seth Rollins that is absolutely, desperately needed on this show, we're going to get AOP, two guys in Akam and Razor that have had no luck on the main roster. They took Paul Ellering away from them. For what, I don't know. I would love to see Paul Ellering back with AOP in this stable. That would make a great visual, They took Paul Ellering, the WWE did, away from the AOP. They shortened their name to AOP and not the Authors of Pain. They paired them with Drake Maverick, someone who had absolutely no identity to fit into the AOP group. And they ended up making pee-pee jokes out of AOP because Drake Maverick pissed his pants. I believe it was last year at the Survivor Series. Then they had visa issues. One of them got hurt. WWE had no plans. They waited and waited and waited. They don't like tag team wrestling. They sat on the sidelines or in catering or wherever guys like AOP sit when they're not doing anything on these shows. Now they're back. And I hope that this is going to be a really good creative decision for them. Because if Rollins, and I believe in Rollins, if he is a heel, he will be a heel. He will get over as a heel. I want nothing more than to hear that fucking heel-like laugh that he does. Shit on the fans. With AOP standing behind you as bodyguards, not only will you look the best you've looked all year, but you're going to get AOP over just by being there in association with you. This is going to be a good deal if WWE follows through. I said this on Monday. You cannot go half-assed on this. You either go all the way or you don't do anything at all. You can't half commit to this. He can't come out there and be in between. He can't come out and be babyface one week, heel the next, and then the next week play both. You can't do that. You already have the fans telling you the direction in which you should go. Rollins needs to be a heel. Kevin Owens is over as a babyface. He was always over. Since his feud with Shane McMahon, you killed him off there. He was feuding with Shane McMahon. They kept him off TV for a month. Then they brought him back and he wasn't anywhere as hot as he was with Shane McMahon. And I hated that feud, but Kevin Owens was over because he said the right things and he was for the people. And the people understand that when they're watching something and they know the issues and you have somebody go out there and cut a worked shoot promo and they are telling the fans exactly what's wrong with the show and they feel it as well as the fans feeling it. If they hear that coming from somebody on the active roster, yes, I agree with them. He's going to be over. And then WWE just ruined all of that. Kept him off TV for a month and now he's on Monday Night Raw. And now we are possibly getting the Kevin Owens that we had on SmackDown during that Shane McMahon feud. It's easy. The fans are telling you what the answers are. They're giving you the cheat sheet. Rollins a heel, Kevin Owens a babyface. Do everything in your power to make Rollins the biggest fucking prick on the Monday Night Raw roster and make Kevin Owens your babyface. That is it. I have nothing more to say. Now, Rollins was already a heel in the eyes of most people, so you should be already fucking fully committed to this thing. I don't know why you weren't following the fans' direction after Hell in a Cell. There was no way this guy's getting cheered. After that creative blunder, which is one of the worst creative decisions that this company has ever made, not giving The Fiend the title at Hell in a Cell, you ruined not only the momentum of The Fiend, you didn't capitalize on a first moment type deal with The Fiend there. You had to prolong it for whatever fucking reason. And then Seth Rollins looked like a fucking retard. He looked like an idiot. Standing in that cell, doing what he did. And then your creative blunder absolutely buried Seth Rollins as far as his run goes. So you came out looking like the biggest loser. And then they did everything in their power to vouch that it was the right decision, that the referee come out, they had Rollins come out and say, oh, it's the fans' fault. That's exactly what I need to hear live in the ring. It's the fans' fault. It's your fault. You turned your back on me, so go fuck yourself. That's exactly what we need to hear out of Seth Rollins. So I don't know what they're doing with this. You know, I hope it's not some sort of redemption angle. I hope they don't have Seth Rollins really try and gain the trust of the Monday Night Raw roster and try to babyface himself up in front of the fans. No. They are telling you where to go. Go full heel. And by that, I mean blonde streak, fucking sniveling laugh, a prick in Seth Rollins is what we need. Backed by AOP, it's going to be a great stable. It really is. And then Kevin Owens, there you go. He's the number one man on your show. And after TakeOver and the reaction he got and the TakeOver match that he had with the Undisputed Era and Team Ciampa, and then again the night after at Survivor Series where he got another great reaction being for Team Raw, I mean, it's common logic. Please do the right thing. SmackDown, their ratings from Thanksgiving, or the post-Thanksgiving holiday, SmackDown was actually down, and they averaged 2.336 million viewers overnight for last night's show. That's according to Showbuzz Daily. Hour 1 drew a 2.35 million viewership, and then Hour 2 dropped 1.2% to 2.322 million viewers. SmackDown also drew an average of 0.7 ratings in the 18 to 49 demographic. That's the demographic that is most key to any program. That is your moneymaker right there, which is tied for number one of the night with Frosty the Snowman. You couldn't pay me to watch Frosty the fucking Snowman. I mean, give me a break. Now, depending on how bad SmackDown was, I would have rather watched Frosty the Snowman, but that's neither here or there. This is down 8.2 from last Friday's episode, which drew 2.544 million viewers with a 0.8 rating in that 18 to 49 demographic. SmackDown was number 9 for the entire night. Amongst the networks in viewership, it came in behind American Housewife, 2020, Hawaii Five-0, Blue Bloods, Frosty the Snowman, Frosty Returns, The National Dog Show, and Dateline NBC. Blue Bloods, the show Blue Bloods topped the night with 4.365 million viewers. Man, for every time I say SmackDown is bad, the American viewing audience, their viewing habits are fucking horrendous. I wouldn't watch, you couldn't pay me to watch any of those shows in the top fucking 10. My goodness, SmackDown was awful. SmackDown was awful. It was spearheaded by the new face of the Firefly Funhouse, which is this right here. I still have the still picture of it from the SmackDown review. We got a new title for Bray Wyatt. This is the new face of the Firefly Funhouse. Bray Wyatt has his own custom title. He introduced the new custom title for The Fiend. This is actually a custom, handcrafted title by Tom Savini. He's the one in charge of all the aesthetics for Bray Wyatt's character. His mask, the lantern, and now the title. Folks, this title is going for $6,500 on WWEshop.com. Every title, they are guaranteeing you, every title with a certificate of authenticity, every title will be individually numbered, they will all be limited edition, and due to the handcrafting of the fucking faceplate here, every title is going to have a different look. Not one title is going to look the exact same. And that's pretty cool. If you're a collector, this is pretty cool. I don't know about putting down a fucking card payment for a WWE custom title for The Fiend, but it certainly is going to make a collectible addition to your man cave or wherever you collect WWE figures and display them in your household. Now, I know for a fact that young-looking Jesus man sitting in the front row is going to probably be getting one of these. Green shirt guy that is at every show, every pay-per-view is probably going to be getting one of these. So, I don't know who in their right mind would spend $6,500 for this title, but there you go. The entire show for SmackDown revolved around the new face of the Funhouse and then bringing out the real mask of who Daniel Bryan is. Now, Bray Wyatt went into his Brutus the Barber Beefcake phase, or maybe he, I guess, confiscated the hair strands that were around Awesome Kong's belt. I don't know. I don't know what happened here, but Bray Wyatt pulled Daniel Bryan down into the pits of hell, because we've seen this time and time again. It's an overdone concept. Bray Wyatt pulled Daniel Bryan down into the ring, and all of a sudden, we start seeing strands of hair flying all over the place. He went down, strands of hair. Goes down again, gives him the mandible claw, strands of hair coming out. We don't know what this means. Did Daniel Bryan opt to shave his head? Did he opt to shave his beard? I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Maybe this is a creative decision done by Daniel Bryan working with Bray Wyatt. I don't know where they're going with this. I don't want this to end up being another Shawn Michaels situation. When Shawn Michaels came back and he wrestled with Triple H against the Brothers of Destruction at Crown Jewel last year, it was so difficult to see Shawn Michaels in the ring without his just traditional long hair. He might have been balding, but Shawn Michaels with his hair is one of those things that I can never really see him without. And then when I seen Shawn Michaels at Crown Jewel, and he was bald and doing the kip up and the super kick and the elbow drop and wrestling in the ring like we all remembered Shawn Michaels, it just never looked the same. Daniel Bryan has been with the beard and the hair for so long that at this point I cannot really even see him without it. I'm not saying that I can't accept it. I'm just asking WWE for a compromise. Shave the head. Trim the beard if you must. Don't shave the beard completely. Please do not give me a Daniel Bryan like the American Dragon Ring of Honor days Daniel Bryan. I don't want to see a shaved head, and I don't want to see a Daniel Bryan without a beard. Please compromise with this. So that's all I got to say about that. Now, one criticism about this storyline is that WWE goes into these title feuds with really no basis of a storyline until the first match happens. I mentioned this last week. I'm going to mention it here again this week. Every single time they want to get a feud with anybody, it doesn't have to be Bryan or The Fiend, it could be anybody for the WWE title, the Universal title, they do the match first and then they start building the storyline, and then we get 2 or 3 matches after all of it's over. Instead of building towards the first match with a great storyline, and then we get a little bit more storyline, possible conclusion, and then a match, WWE does everything ass backwards. I don't like that. That lacks creativity. That just reeks of laziness to me. It's not the way I would go about things. Now, the storyline between Daniel Bryan and Bray Wyatt, I'm going to excuse those little criticisms because I know the history between these two. I loved the history between these two. I loved Daniel Bryan and Bray Wyatt and the match that they had, and Bryan coming out of the Wyatt family doing that big yes chant in Rhode Island. I know. I wish WWE would do a better job at telling the story as to why Bray Wyatt even targeted Daniel Bryan. I wish they would go into that a little bit more, but the Daniel Bryan match with Bray Wyatt at the Survivor Series was very good for what it was. I actually expected a lot less, to be fair. I thought it was going to be, very quick, very, one-sided, and I'm glad we got an actual wrestling match. Now all they got to do is get rid of that fucking red lighting, and we'll be good to go. I want to see guys like Bryan and Wyatt wrestle in natural lighting. And to be fair, Bryan wrestling in that lighting, it didn't come off as bad. I still got the sense of Daniel Bryan, even with the red lighting. The red lighting, I don't know if you guys are on Instagram following Bray Wyatt or Wyndham Rotunda on Instagram. The red lighting, he had a Q&A on his IG stories. The red lighting isn't even his idea. Someone asked him about the red lighting and that they were frustrated with the red lighting. They want the red lighting to go away. He says, take your criticisms up with WWE. It's not my idea. So this is absolutely a Vince and Kevin Dunn type aesthetic for Bray Wyatt. And I hope that they actually end up changing it because right now, from what I see and what I read on Instagram, it's not even part of Bray Wyatt's vision. It's something that he's going along with because Vince and Kevin Dunn want it. I wish they would change it. He didn't wrestle Finn Balor at SummerSlam with the red light and everything was fine. I hope that we don't get that shit moving forward into the new year. I hope that's something that they absolutely change. But this storyline is intriguing to me because of the history between Bryan and Wyatt. Now, the new face of the Funhouse, is it disappointing? Yes. Is the title causing a controversy on wrestling social media? Yes. There are people who think it's badass. I think it looks badass. And there are people that absolutely hate it. And there are people against WWE selling it for $6,500. But WWE's going to make their money, however they can. And this is one of the reasons why Bray Wyatt is the #1 merchandise seller in all of WWE right now. And how could he not with that type of price tag? I would have much rathered Bray Wyatt have a new face in the Funhouse be an actual new face. Not Bryan's fucking hair or his beard or his own face plastered on his own custom title. I wish WWE would actually creatively write for somebody. Everybody was talking about Liv Morgan on social media on Friday night. She was actually trending during SmackDown. And Liv Morgan sent out some cryptic tweets. We didn't know what happened with Liv Morgan. The last we seen of Liv Morgan was on SmackDown, where she lost to Charlotte Flair in about 3 minutes. She took the headset off of Corey Graves, that asshole, Corey Graves, on commentary and said, sooner rather than later, you're going to see the real me. It's time for a change. So we didn't know what that meant, but for the first time in probably forever, we were all just vaguely intrigued by what Liv Morgan was doing. She was undergoing a possible character change, and we haven't seen her since. So everybody was like, Liv Morgan would be great inside the Firefly Funhouse. And then people are telling me, oh, but JD, Liv Morgan is on Monday Night Raw. When has that ever stopped WWE from doing anything? Do you even remember Liv Morgan being drafted to Monday Night Raw? The majority of the audience don't even remember. I don't remember. And that's something that I would have remembered. I don't overlook those little things. When has it ever stopped WWE before? Stop giving them the benefit of the doubt. They could easily move Liv Morgan over to SmackDown Live. That's not even an issue. That's not stopped them before in the past. Could have been Luke Harper. Luke Harper's not even drafted to a brand. He could absolutely fit into the Firefly Funhouse as a character of sorts. Creatively right for him. Sure, Bray Wyatt and his vast imagination could come up with something for Liv Morgan and Luke Harper. You know, it's not that difficult. Instead, WWE rather go the simplistic route and give him a new custom title that is pretty much just his face on a title belt, and then they rather have Daniel Bryan cut his hair. I hope that's not the case. So please compromise with us. Shave the head. If you want to get rid of the hair, shave the hair. Trim the beard even. Don't shave the beard completely. Please, I'm begging you. Hopefully WWE compromises in what they do with Daniel Bryan. But that was SmackDown. Corey Graves. Corey motherfucking Graves. He apologizes to Mauro Ranallo. Or at least, he apologizes for what he did on social media. He didn't necessarily apologize directly to Mauro Ranallo. Corey Graves finally apologized for his comments made about Mauro Ranallo on this recent episode of After the Bell. Now, we said something about his commentary style and him overtaking Nigel McGuinness and Beth Phoenix at TakeOver War Games. People have interpreted the below tweet I'm about to read to you as Graves calling out Ranallo for talking too much. And Ranallo has been pulled from the Survivor Series, was pulled from the Survivor Series, and he did not show up on NXT's weekly TV show this past Wednesday. Now, Ranallo has been very open about the struggles that he goes through with mental health illness. He's bipolar. He's actually an advocate for mental health, and he's a spokesman for mental health. He's constantly tweeting about mental health and giving others encouraging words and lifting people's spirits on social media, sharing stories with people he don't even know about what he battles and what he goes through and what he does to suppress his mental illness. Graves initially appeared very reluctant to admit any wrongdoing and publicly called out Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez for their reporting of the story. But he has now publicly apologized for his tweets on his latest podcast of After the Bell. This is what he said. By the way, he called out Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez for their reporting of the story. I don't think Corey Graves realized that Dave Meltzer and Mauro Ranallo, I found out, have been friends for over 3 decades. So he's calling out somebody who knows Mauro personally for 30 plus years, and he's calling bullshit on the story, and he's calling out Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez for their opinions and their reports of the story. He went into defensive mode because of what they said about him and his shitty handling and his initial comments about Mauro Ranallo. He went into defensive mode because he knew he had fucked up. On top of that, wasn't just Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez calling him out. Didn't Triple H just go on a social media tangent about handling yourself as a professional on social media so much that Oney Lorcan got pissed off about what Triple H said. Now, I don't know what Oney Lorcan's issue is with WWE and Triple H, but Triple H was on a conference call before TakeOver, the week of TakeOver, and he mentioned that everybody that has a problem should not handle it publicly on social media. Do not direct your anger and your frustrations at the company on social media in a public setting. Pick up the phone, come to the office, talk to us face to face, handle it like a professional. Corey Graves, I'm sure, heard about what Triple H said, and he obviously did not listen. He did not listen to Triple H. Whatever Triple H fell on deaf ears when it comes to Corey Graves. This is what he said on After the Bell. What's up, everybody? Welcome to After the Bell. I am Corey Graves. I got a ton to get into this week, as we do every week, but before we go any further, on a personal note, I needed to address something. This past Saturday during TakeOver War Games, I sent out a tweet. It was an unpopular opinion. It wasn't even an opinion. He's wrong right there. It wasn't even an opinion of what you thought. As I often do with the intention of just stirring up a little controversy. Stirring up some controversy? You fucking ruined the livelihood of your fellow colleague. Little controversy, maybe have some fun talking about what we're seeing on TV and here on the show. It was maybe not the most professional way to go about things, and it never was meant to offend or disrespect or disparage anybody. But you did. But you did. That was never my intention. It absolutely was. Because you knew what the fuck you were doing. If it was taken as such, of course it was taken as such. It was blatant. If it was taken as such, I apologize deeply. That was not my intention. I would never intentionally cause anybody to undergo stress, especially a coworker, so I apologize. End quote. That was his statement on After the Bell. Did you hear, or did you hear me say, reading his apology back to you guys, did you hear him utter the words, Mauro Ranallo, or I apologize very deeply, Mauro Ranallo. It will never happen again. Triple H talked about picking up the phone. Did Mauro Ranallo have his number changed? Did Corey Graves not have Mauro's number in his cell phone? Was it too difficult to pick up the phone and maybe discuss things personally? You were slated to call the NXT title match with him at Survivor Series between Adam Cole and Pete Dunne. Why not address this in a professional manner backstage hours before the show and tell Mauro exactly what you felt about the commentary, and maybe Mauro would take it under advisement and devise a plan of attack going into NXT TV next week. No, but you opted to blast him on social media in front of everybody, knowing that Mauro is sensitive to these issues, knowing that Mauro has come out and expressed what he deals with on a daily basis, knowing that he is a bipolar individual, suffers from depression and mental health. I mean, did you not watch his documentary? Did you not watch the guy break down live on camera in front of everybody while explaining his story? Did you not understand what the man has gone through? So you took it upon yourself in this situation, from what I gather here. You opted not to call him. You could have sent him a DM. You opted not to send a fucking DM on social media. You had to make it public on social media to stir up some controversy. You wanted to stir up controversy with somebody who is immensely sensitive to these harsh words. And why is he immensely sensitive to these harsh words, Corey? Why? It's because he's the one guy in this entire company, in that position, who takes his position as serious as anybody else. Much more serious than anybody that you work with, much more serious than anybody on Monday Night Raw, much more serious than any commentator in this fucking industry. This is Mauro's craft. This is Mauro's craft. He holds himself to such high levels of quality that when he goes out there and he doesn't deliver the work that he knows he should be delivering, it makes him fucking suffer on the inside. Anybody that is a perfectionist would feel that way. Now imagine taking that perfectionist and adding Mauro's condition, which he cannot help. The man's number one love in life is that fucking commentary position. And you single-handedly took that away from him to stir up controversy for your fucking podcast. You wanted to create an angle for yourself to either gain clicks, viewership on your podcast, or from what I heard, which is completely bullshit, some people were reporting that Corey Graves wanted to stir up controversy between the brands for Survivor Series. Are you fucking kidding me? Whoever used that excuse to defend Corey Graves, you need to fucking delete your Twitter account and never talk about pro wrestling ever again. That is the biggest crock of shit I've ever heard, because I'd love someone to come to me and tell me during the 4 weeks or 5 weeks we have of Survivor Series build that when did WWE start engaging the commentary teams in brand warfare during the 5 weeks? Not once. Not once did they do that. Corey Graves did not apologize to Mauro Ranallo. He never mentioned his fucking name. And from what I gathered from his apology, all he did was stir up controversy for his shitty little podcast that he knows is not good, or not as good as everybody says it is. Give me a fucking break. You used a real life medical condition for Mauro Ranallo for your own benefit. That makes you a fucking asshole. I don't give a shit. And then I watch him on SmackDown Live and he's all smiles. And then I watch Michael Cole on Survivor Series. Mauro Ranallo blew out his voice. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. Because Mauro Ranallo was doing commentary this past week on Showtime Boxing. So clearly he didn't blow out his voice. If he blew out his voice, he wouldn't have done NXT. He wouldn't have done Showtime Boxing. So what is Mauro Ranallo going to do when he shows back up eventually, which I hope he does, on NXT Wednesday? Is he going to use the same excuse that Michael Cole used? Oh, I blew out my voice, guys. I'm all ready to go. I'm back, and I'm ready to go for NXT this week and sweep it under the rug. Is he going to give the corporate response that WWE is going to give him and regurgitate to him just to sweep this shit under the rug? Or is he going to say, you know what, guys, I had prior engagements, which I hope he does, because he's not going to come out and say Corey Graves bullied me, right? I hope that they use the Showtime Boxing deal on Wednesday, which Michael Cole fucking is made to look like an idiot now. Oh, he blew out his voice. Clearly not. Clearly not. I hope he comes out on Wednesday and says, guys, I didn't blow out my voice. Makes Michael Cole look even more ridiculous than he looks now. I didn't blow out my voice. I did Showtime Boxing on Wednesday. I had prior engagements. I couldn't be here on Wednesday. I'm back here. Let's get to work. Simple. Simple. But Corey Graves, you wouldn't know it, but Beth Phoenix is a WWE Hall of Famer. Nigel McGuinness is a former Ring of Honor champion. You wouldn't know it, right? I think they have a lot to offer. Yeah, so does Mauro Ranallo, because he's the best guy not only in the fucking sport, in the industry, he's the best commentator in all of WWE. And he's an easy target for these people. He's an easy target for these people. For whatever reason, they pick on the guy who is the easiest target because they know that they could get to him without even any effort. And what happens when they get to him? They fucking laugh about it. Everybody in the WWE should absolutely be ashamed of the fucking situation here. Not one fucking person, not one person has done anything right in this situation. I stand with Mauro. Corey Graves' apology, fucking worthless to me. He didn't even apologize to Mauro Ranallo. How fucking ashamed should Vince McMahon feel? Vince McMahon is the biggest piece of shit I think I've ever seen. Corey Graves is right there after this situation. How do you look at this situation and not think of Vince McMahon? Vince McMahon allowed this to happen. You don't think Vince McMahon should have come out and pulled Corey Graves to the side and fucking gave him a lashing? You don't think Vince McMahon should have came out and spoke to Corey Graves and told him to go on social media and publicly apologize for the comments he made about Mauro Ranallo, not one instance did WWE management have Corey Graves come out in a public setting and apologize to Mauro Ranallo. How fucking ridiculous is that? This is a company that has absolutely no shame. No shame. They have no morals. They just allow these people like Corey Graves, these bullies, to go and do and say whatever they want. I don't understand how nobody, especially Vince McMahon, have not stepped in and tried to make this situation right. And it's not going to look good for WWE, because what if, and hopefully this is not the case, and this is not going to be the last time this happens, what if it drives him to do something even worse? What happens when you push him to that edge and that brink, and something worse comes out of this situation by someone saying something like Corey Graves? What happens? It's not going to be a good look for WWE. It's not going to be a good look, especially for a guy who is an advocate for mental health. And you are always talking about be a star and your anti-bullying campaigns, and you do this and that and this and that, you know, with all that nonsense. What happened? What happened? WWE is one of the most hypocritical companies in the entire world. Now, Mike Johnson said, like I said, Corey Graves and Mauro Ranallo were slated to work together during the NXT title match at Survivor Series. That makes me think, just looking at his comments again on After the Bell, where he did not apologize, maybe Corey Graves did this on purpose because he knows, sitting next to Mauro Ranallo, he's not going to be the spotlight. Mauro's going to be the spotlight. Mauro would have been leading that commentary team. Where you hear Michael Cole and Corey Graves, it's an even 50-50. Sometimes Corey Graves is speaking over Michael Cole, and he knew he couldn't do that with Mauro Ranallo. Sounds like sheer jealousy and envy to me. I don't understand it. Nigel McGuinness and Beth Phoenix have no problem speaking with Mauro Ranallo. They've never had an issue with speaking with Mauro Ranallo in tandem during a takeover event or an NXT show. Why is this an issue now? Why? You know, believe it or not, the less we hear of Beth Phoenix, the better. Is she the best female commentator that they've had in the recent string of female commentators? Yes, but that doesn't mean she's good. She's not spitting factual information out there. She's not adding anything to the overall match that I'm on the edge of my seat for. It's always Mauro and Nigel. She's just there for the sake of being there. Nigel has never had an issue with speaking with Mauro Ranallo in tandem. Never. I've never had Nigel come out and complain, or heard anything about Nigel complaining about Mauro Ranallo. Everybody loves Mauro Ranallo. Everybody on that roster loves Mauro Ranallo. Now, one person, I guarantee you, has one thing bad to say about Mauro Ranallo. Adam Cole, Tommaso Ciampa, they've benefited from Mauro Ranallo. Johnny Gargano benefited from Mauro. Everybody has benefited from Mauro Ranallo. Do you think Johnny Gargano's win at TakeOver New York would be as epic as it sits today without Mauro Ranallo? Absolutely not. You think Adam Cole winning the title from Johnny Gargano is going to be as epic as it is without Mauro Ranallo? No. Adam Cole, weeks ago, came out on social media and said, Mauro Ranallo is my favorite commentator, and all I want is a hip-hop reference during, or Beastie Boys or something like that. I forgot what it was. If I could have a win tonight and my favorite commentator give me a reference during my match about this certain musician, then my life is made. They look to him to enhance what they're doing in the ring, and Mauro does that. Does Corey Graves enhance anybody sitting where he sits on SmackDown Live? No. No. He was tolerable in NXT. He was great in NXT. Once he made the main roster, it's nothing but bickering, and this is the version of Corey Graves we got. He thinks his shit don't stink. He thinks he's the best color man in the business. And bro, you're not. You're not. That honor goes to Nigel McGuinness. Now, internal WWE reaction to Corey Graves' tweets about Mauro Ranallo. In the latest updates about Mauro, this is going in chronological order. Following the controversy of Survivor Series, Mauro was supposed to call Survivor Series Adam Cole versus Pete Dunne. He didn't. And just for the record, guys, This is what Corey Graves originally said. I know you wouldn't know it, but there's actually a WWE Hall of Famer and a former Ring of Honor champion on commentary. The tweet is still up, by the way. Corey did not delete it. I'd imagine they have a lot to offer. Meltzer, in the latest update about Ranallo, he's not quit WWE. And on Ranallo's end, he was all set to call NXT on Wednesday with Nigel McGuinness and Beth Phoenix as usual, both of whom were part of the Survivor Series broadcast team. Meltzer added that WWE wasn't happy with Graves, but obviously they weren't unhappy enough to not have him call the Survivor Series. Graves put out a new tweet calling Meltzer an uninformed, false narrative-pushing liar in response. Yes, because whatever Meltzer said about this situation is bullshit, right? Corey Graves simply came out and spewed the same garbage that everybody spews about Dave Meltzer. He's an uninformed, false narrative-pushing liar in response, and that was simply done in defense because Corey Graves knew he had fucked up, and he doesn't have the balls to sit there and apologize to anybody because he physically can't. It's not within his DNA to prove that he fucked up. Now, Michael Cole, who replaced Ranallo in calling the NXT title match, gave the explanation and the excuse that Mauro lost his voice during TakeOver because he got so excited. Meltzer has fired back at Corey Graves after this string of situations and Graves claimed that Meltzer was pushing a false narrative on the situation with Mauro. Graves' tweet at Meltzer seemed odd, considering that Graves made the situation public by tweeting about Ranallo, and many people realized that Ranallo had deleted his Twitter account by Sunday afternoon before the Survivor Series and before Meltzer had even said anything on the subject. Ranallo's best friend and manager, Frank Shamrock, was one of the many who were not happy about Graves publicly criticizing someone he works with and someone who he could have spoken to face to face. They would have been in the same building Sunday night. The situation is worse considering that everyone in WWE knows of Ranallo's mental health issues, and a critical tweet from a co-worker that would cause fans to verbally attack Ranallo is the last thing that he needed. He actually came out just before TakeOver and kind of admitted that he was dealing with some issues mentally. Before TakeOver, he was like, please, I hope my mental health is stable today. I just want to live in the moment and enjoy what TakeOver War Games has to offer. Now, that doesn't mean Ranallo is immune to criticism, but it's hard to go against the argument that the best thing Graves could have done was to speak with him privately. Meltzer tweeted, now that we're on day 3 of this, you could have at least apologized to Mauro, show a slight bit of remorse, take down the tweet, all of the above. When you mess someone up on your own team, don't think only about yourself first, second, and last. Fightful and Sean Ross Sapp were able to obtain a quote from Corey Graves concerning the situation, and this was earlier in the week. The issue is that he declined a statement before going off on pro wrestling journalism as he passed off the blame of this unfortunate situation. This guy is a fucking prick. Nope, it was just shitty wrestling journalism that sensationalized a non-issue. A non-issue? A non-issue? You went on a public social media platform to blast someone with mental health issues on your own team, in your own company. And you're blaming social media journalism? How low can you be as a human being? The Wrestling Observer newsletter added to this situation. In fact, in the world of Corey Graves and in the world of WWE, some in WWE, I'm not saying all, some, are actually looking at Corey Graves as the victim in this entire situation. It was noted that Logic would have had WWE management try to reel him in after Ranallo left. But in the strange world of WWE, Graves was considered by many the babyface in this situation and even the victim. I don't know how that is even fucking a conceivable thought. Corey Graves is the victim? Why? Because he had some mean little people on social media blast him and his little girlfriend on social media? You know, I mentioned this on the Survivor Series review. How would Corey Graves like it? How would Corey Graves like it if what he did to Mauro, someone did to him in regards to Carmella, right? And then someone came on a public platform and apologized the way he apologized to Mauro without even mentioning his name. What if someone did that to Carmella and then someone apologized in the way that he did? Corey Graves would be the first fucking person to tell you either A, I don't accept your apology, go on a blocking spree, or he would say, bro, you apologize, but it was a half-assed apology. Do better. That's exactly what would have happened. What if someone did this to Carmella the way he did it to Mauro Ranallo? It wouldn't be so hot now, would it? Mauro Ranallo was in rough shape following Survivor Series. Meltzer noted, following Survivor Series, that Ranallo was in rough shape as a result of Corey Graves' tweet. All the people going out there and saying that Mauro Ranallo needs to develop thicker skin, fucking delete your social media, don't be in the public eye, retire from commentary, he's got to grow a backbone. You do realize that this man is suffering from something that he cannot control. It just happens. This is not something to fuck with. Because what you see might not be that bad to you, but you don't know what this man is suffering through. All we have is a documentary that was detailed in what the man suffers through. We don't know what Corey Graves or anybody that says anything to him or anything like a JBL does to him. We don't know. And I don't even want to know how bad it could get. We don't know if this guy could have suicidal tendencies. We don't know if he would actually go out there and kill himself over what someone said. These insensitive pricks that work in the company. You want to fucking pick on an easy target. Meanwhile, you could look at this man as an influence, as an inspiration to ask how to get better at what you're doing, and they refuse to do so. It all stems from jealousy, no matter what he has, as far as a condition or not. It all stems from jealousy. It all stems from envy. They all know that he is the very best at what he does, and nobody can hold a fucking candle to what he does. He's in rough shape. I think everybody pretty much knows the situation. It was pretty bad the last couple of days, so it's pretty bad. It's a day-by-day thing. There's no way of knowing what's going to happen next. It was a very unfortunate situation, and I think we've spoken a lot about it, but it's probably worse than what we said. This week on NXT, Mauro Ranallo was placed by Tom Phillips. Beth Phoenix said that she hoped to see Mauro next week, so hopefully the situation is resolved in the coming days. It was also revealed that Corey Graves might not have apologized to Mauro Ranallo. He didn't have an opportunity to do so, possibly. He did say he was sorry to Frank Shamrock, who is a man that really didn't like what Graves said either. Well, that I do know is he did apologize to Frank Shamrock. He may not have a chance to apologize to Mauro Ranallo at this stage, says Dave Meltzer. Thankfully, it seems that Ranallo is on the way to recovery as he appeared at the commentary table for Showtime Boxing this week and was said to be in rare form. Phillips replaced Mauro on commentary for this week's NXT, mentioned on the show that they look forward to welcoming him back next Wednesday, which is, hopefully, the situation. I don't have anything else to add to this situation. It sucks so bad that Graves, with his initial announcement, he used this to stir up controversy for his little podcast. Not once did he mention Mauro Ranallo's name. He did it to stir controversy, knowing that Mauro suffers from what he suffers through. Was he drunk? Did he forget what Mauro is suffering from? Did it not really fucking pass his mind in his drunken state, I'm sure, watching TakeOver? I don't know. Be a little bit more responsible with whom you fucking speak about. Plus, you work with him, and you are both employed by the same company. I don't understand why you go out there and willingly put one of your colleagues on blast on social media in a losing situation, because, the amount of people that came to Mauro's defense obviously superseded whoever came to Corey Graves' defense. And if you are one of those people that came to Corey Graves' defense, you are just as big a piece of shit he is. It's ridiculous. It wasn't done for any other reason but to stir up clicks and interest in your podcast. Maybe Survivor Series if you want to go that route. But the WWE didn't tell any ongoing conflict with any of the commentary teams in Survivor Series this year. So that is an invalid excuse. Corey Graves could have pulled him aside at Survivor Series hours before the show and tell him exactly in a professional manner, Maybe you should let Nigel McGuinness and Beth Phoenix get a little bit more in than they do. Reach into his DM, give him a phone call. He has yet to apologize to Mauro Ranallo. I hope that he does. And it should be done in a public setting. It should be done for everybody to see, because right now, Corey Graves is public enemy number one. And he showed his true colors. He showed his true colors by not apologizing and giving us that vague, very insincere and cold apology. Absolutely the biggest piece of shit in 2019. This is a glimpse into who Corey Graves really is. It really is. And he just showed his true colors to the entire wrestling world. I don't think anybody, whoever agrees with him, you belong with him. But I think the majority of the audience that's seen this situation unfold publicly on social media have lost all respect for Corey Graves. And I don't think Corey Graves can do anything to get that respect back. Again, you are the voice of SmackDown Live. What you do directly impacts everything revolving around WWE. That's including the fan base. For what you did, you went about this in the most unprofessional manner. We blasted Jim Cornette. I have every right to blast Corey Graves. You are the voice, or one of the voices, of SmackDown Live. And you made the WWE look like a piece of shit, which they usually are. And how Vince McMahon is not getting himself into this situation and forcing you to fucking publicly apologize is even worse than what you said. You're the voice of this company, and you go about acting like that to one of your colleagues on social media. You are a fucking disgrace to the commentary booth. You really are. You really are. I look at Mauro as someone who's an influence on what I do, an inspiration to what I do for House of Glory and the commentary work that I do. I look at his work ethic, and I look at the excitement he brings to every show, and I try to emulate the excitement that Mauro delivers on NXT in House of Glory. He is an influence to many people in this field. He should be an influence to you, but you look the other way, and you chose to disrespect somebody who is beloved in this industry. Corey Graves is a fucking disgrace, and I'll never have any sort of respect for what he did, even if he does come out and publicly apologize, because we all know that when he gets on these drunken rants, that the next takeover a year from now is going to result in the same fucking thing, or someone else is in the line of picking on Mauro because he's an easy fucking target. You know? JBL was a piece of shit. Corey Graves is a piece of shit. End of story. Mauro should be looked at as a fucking treasure for this company. They are even lucky he is employed here. Moving on. We're going to get into the rest of the podcast. I got news on the Viking Raiders. I got news on Charlie Caruso calling out Dave Meltzer. WWE applies for ECW barely legal trademark, and Survivor Series. Vince McMahon unhappy with the main event of Survivor Series, but he's got no one to blame but himself. Before we get into that, guys, quickly, got to shout out my other sponsor, Ridge.com/script. Use code SCRIPT at checkout. You guys are going to save 10% off this holiday season. Guys, I own the Ridge wallet, and the Ridge helps you carry what you need every single day. From streamlining how you carry cash and cards in their flagship Ridge wallets to their portable charging commuter backpack, they want to make the most out of what you're bringing with you every single day. I've been using the Ridge wallet for pretty much the entire 2019 calendar year. I love the simple fact that it's clean, it's sleek, it's stylish, it doesn't bend, it doesn't fold, and I love the simple fact of the RFID blocking qualities. I know that my ID and my cards are safe. The Ridge is also confident that you'll enjoy their product. They've made it as simple as possible. Free shipping this holiday season so you guys can get it fast. Free returns in case you don't like it. And if you do like it, there's a lifetime guarantee. There's also 30,000 5-star reviews, so they've got a lot to be confident about. The Ridge wallet is super durable, made from military-grade materials like titanium and carbon fiber. I got the titanium, and like I said, guys, it looks great. It's proven to be bulletproof, waterproof, and even chainsaw-proof. The Ridge has been sponsors of the channel for a while, and I want you guys to use our link. That's ridge.com/script. Choose the wallet you want. Choose the knife that you want. Choose the commuter backpack that you want. Choose the charging block that you want. They got a ton of things that make your life as simple as possible for everyday necessities. Color, material. Guys, it's great. It's going to make a great holiday gift this season. The Ridge. Ridge.com/script. Use code SCRIPT at checkout this holiday season for 10% off. Might as well keep up with the Dave Meltzer reporting and the Dave Meltzer bashing. Corey Graves was not the only one to come out this week and bash Dave Meltzer. Charlie Caruso was also in the news as she bashed Dave Meltzer. Now, during Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer made a comment about Charlie Caruso and the job she has right now on Monday Night Raw. This is what he said. He said that Mean Gene Okerlund wouldn't have had the job that Charlie Caruso has now because he's not young and he's not cute enough. End quote. Before I even continue, what did Dave Meltzer say that was wrong? And what did Dave Meltzer say that is untrue? I don't find anything wrong in his opinion of Charlie Caruso. Is she great at her job? Absolutely. I think Charlie Caruso is fantastic at what she does because she doesn't sound like a goddamn android. Charlie Caruso has a sense of enthusiasm when she's interviewing whoever. She gets right to the point. She doesn't sound overly scripted. She doesn't sound fake. She sounds very charismatic. She's great at what she does. But when someone brought this to her attention, when someone took this comment from Dave Meltzer and sent this to Charlie Caruso on social media, Charlie Caruso simply replied, and I quote, "I feel very bad for Marianne," end quote. Marianne is in reference to Dave Meltzer's wife. Now, WWE hired Charlie Caruso because she's excellent at what she does. But I don't want to hear anybody tell me that Charlie Caruso wasn't hired because of her looks and her beauty. She's obviously hired because she is a beautiful woman. That doesn't have the number one reason behind it as to why she was hired. She was hired because she's a beautiful woman. A beautiful woman who is very good at what she does. Where was Dave Meltzer wrong in this assessment? He's absolutely correct. Mean Gene Okerlund wouldn't have had a job in 2019 in the WWE. And by the way, if you can find somebody that is a male who does these backstage interviews and these backstage segments on Raw and SmackDown, I'd love for you to tell me who exactly that is. Why do you think WWE has nothing but females do these backstage segments? They are easier to look at. So please don't start with your fucking feminism and your sexism when it comes to this. WWE is as sexist as anybody. The reason why they hired these female on-air performers to interview everybody during these segments and breaks on Raw and SmackDown is because they're easier to look at. Now, Byron Saxton does it on Crown Jewel because females aren't allowed to work the WWE events over at Crown Jewel. They even do the same thing in NXT. You don't have one male performer backstage interviewing anybody. That goes to all the female talents. Sarah Schreiber, Charlie Caruso, right? Everybody, Kayla Braxton. They all are beautiful women. And that's why WWE does it. Nothing that Dave Meltzer said was untrue in any sense of the word. And WWE could easily have Mike Rome go back there and do it, but he does the ring announcing. They could have anybody go back there and do it as far as a male perspective goes. Why don't they do it? Because they're not pretty enough. Nobody wants to see a guy there. They want to see a beautifully dressed woman doing an interview with a WWE superstar. Simple. WWE applies for ECW barely legal trademark. I wonder why. It's not that difficult to figure out, folks. AEW's been on a copywriting spree, which we'll talk about. On November 21st, WWE applied to trademark both barely legal and CyberSlam, the names of two former ECW shows in the late 90s and the early 2000s. Now, I immediately knew why WWE was doing this. I was not confused at all. Like a lot of people were like, why are they Why are they copywriting Barely Legal? Is WWE bringing back Barely Legal? Are they going to rename Extreme Rules to Barely Legal in 2020? I doubt it. And if that's the case, I'd be absolutely floored. I'd be shocked. So here's the trademark description for Barely Legal by WWE. Entertainment services, namely a show about professional wrestling. Entertainment services, namely the production and exhibition of professional wrestling events rendered live and through broadcast media, including television, and distributed via various platforms across multiple forms of transmission media, providing wrestling news and information through broadcast media, including television, and various platforms across multiple forms of transition media, providing information in the fields of sports and entertainment through broadcast media, including television and various platforms across multiple platforms of transmission media, providing a website in the field of sports entertainment information, end quote. Now, this decision to just suddenly copyright and trademark ECW pay-per-views like Barely Legal and CyberSlam, what is the reason that WWE is going to do this? Is it because they're going to give us a Barely Legal pay-per-view next year or in the coming months? Maybe a network special on the on the WWE network, one of those 1-hour special events like Starrcade this coming Sunday, right? No, it's not the case, folks. WWE applied for the ECW, Barely Legal, and CyberSlam trademarks because they simply want to keep this away from AEW. That's all that is. Simple. Cody Rhodes has been on a trademarking spree, so WWE looked, Cody Rhodes is trademarking all these names. We don't have these names now. We didn't find them to be of any value or interest, so we just let them hang out there. So Cody Rhodes is grabbing all these different names, right? So WWE's looking at the list of copyrighted names that aren't trademarked or copyrighted, so WWE's like, we'll take Barely Legal and we'll take CyberSlam. For what reason? Because they want to keep them away from AEW. Simple. I don't know what else you want me to say here. This is a direct response to fucking Tony Khan and Cody Rhodes and All Elite Wrestling. There's no ifs, ands, or buts here. Now, like I said, if WWE changes Extreme Rules to Barely Legal next year and maybe delivers somewhat of an extreme pay-per-view one time out of the year, I'd be shocked. But under the current PG format and how WWE doesn't go outside the bubble at all, I am not holding my breath. This is simply to keep Cody Rhodes and Tony Khan from grabbing any more trademarks that WWE doesn't own, and this is a direct response to Cody Rhodes trademarking Bash at the Beach. Simple. You guys think otherwise, you're a blithering idiot. The Viking Raiders. The Viking Experience. Remember that? Everybody complained about it on social media, so the next week, everybody was like, they got to change the name, and then WWE changed it from the Viking Experience to the Viking Raiders. And we still were unhappy. Some people are still unhappy about the Viking Raiders, and they want so badly for them to go back down to NXT and have their name changed to the War Raiders. People were like, well, you know what? They can't use the word war on television. Really? Can't use the word war on television. We just got through with NXT War Games. So clearly that can't be the reason. WWE, during the time that they changed the Viking Raiders name, they were calling Ember Moon the War Goddess on SmackDown. Can't be, right? So everybody claiming, oh, you can't say the word war on television, it's not PG. Vince McMahon doesn't want fans chanting war on TV. Meanwhile, that was one of the best parts of their whole fucking gimmick. Meanwhile, they go back down to NXT to fight the Revival a couple of weeks ago, and you seen the jubilation on Hanson and Rowe's face when they did the fucking war chant. They missed it. It killed part of their mystique. It killed part of their act. So, please, stop with the bullshit. The fact that they had war games and continue to call Ember Moon the War Goddess, give me a break. It wasn't about you can't say war on national television. It was because Vince McMahon has a desire to change things that are unnecessary for change. They're over at NXT. You know what? We'll show my son-in-law. He thinks he got these guys over. You know what? We'll kill them on Monday night. It's exactly what they did. Triple H takes good care of his talent. Triple H creates. Vince kills. It still stands today. Now, after a long run as War Machine on the Indies in New Japan, before coming to NXT, they were the War Raiders, right? The War Raiders was a good substitute for not using War Machine, which I understood WWE likes to trademark their own teams and their own names, right? I understood it, but it still kept the essence of what the War Machine were. Then Vince McMahon had a much different idea for their name. Now, Eric explained on After the Bell that when they arrived at the first episode of Raw, where they were called up as NXT Tag Team Champions, by the way, they were met with a very unexpected surprise. Vince McMahon was toying with some new names for the tag team. This was something that he ultimately changed, but Eric and Ivar did wrestle one week as the Viking Experience. So Ivar says, or Eric says this, and I quote, "Then we were at ringside. Ivar comes out, and a graphic comes on the Titantron, and there's a cartoon Viking guy, and it says, Viking Experience. At first, it said the Berserkers. Then we were War Raiders, and then Viking Experience. We watched the screen change to this, and we looked at Triple H and said, are they messing with us? He just shook his head and told us, go see Vince." At that point, I can just imagine what Triple H is thinking. Just hearing Eric talk about this, I can imagine Triple H thinking, I am thinking the same thing you guys are thinking. Just go talk to my father-in-law. We went and spoke to Vince at this point because it's so late in the day. We weren't even going to approach the subject of Ivar and Eric. The name changes that they individually gave both Hanson and Rowe. They didn't even have time to talk about Ivar and Eric. We needed to tackle the Viking Experience name. We knew at this point we weren't going to be Hanson and Rowe. The primary focus was the Viking Experience. We caught Vince as he was going somewhere else, and we pleaded our case about the name. It sounded like a Disney name, and there were 10 other names that we gave him. The last one we gave him was the Viking Raiders, and he kind of paused on that one. He said that they would introduce us as the Viking Experience, and if they didn't feel it would be a good name, they would rename us to something else. But Vince also put over how much he loves the TV show Vikings, and he loves Vikings in general, and mentioned our wrestling gear, our armor, and Viking details from history, so we felt confident that he liked us and our work. We were happy to hopefully in the weeks to come get that tag team name changed. I wonder what would have happened if we landed on time and maybe we could have had more input. Thank God the next week came and we were the Viking Raiders. The Viking Raiders is the original name we pitched when we were coming into NXT. Funny enough. End quote. That is pretty interesting. And I'll give Corey Graves some credit. That is a pretty newsworthy addition to the news this week, because that was something that a lot of people had a big issue with. And I'll give Corey Graves credit on that. But this is interesting. Now, we all thought that this was Vince McMahon's doing. Obviously, the Viking Experience, the Berserkers, all that was true. All that was reported about that being the actual name, the Berserkers, was confirmed here by Eric on After the Bell. It was Vince McMahon who initially changed the name. It was Vince McMahon who changed Ivar and Eric because Vince, it was confirmed, is a fan of Vikings. He loves Viking history, or interested, I should say. I don't know if he loves Viking history, but he's interested enough in Viking history. I can guarantee you, Vince McMahon Googled common Viking names, and Ivar and Eric were the first names that popped up on a Google search, and that's what he applied to Hanson and Rowe. He felt the need to change something to fit the overall Viking gimmick, even though it didn't need a name change. Hanson and Rowe is just as terrifying to an opponent as Ivar and Eric. Ivar and Eric sound like they're in a fucking Disney movie for real. They sound like they're in a fucking cartoon. I don't like the name even today. I miss Hanson and Rowe. I really do. That name, or those names, are still names that strike fear into an opponent's eyes. Just because of who they are, you see them work, and it just goes hand in hand. The Viking experience got changed because they knew it sucked. Then, the most interesting aspect about it wasn't even Vince that came up with the Viking Raiders name. It was actually Ivar and Eric who came up with the Viking experience, or the Viking Raiders name. They wanted it changed. They wanted it changed to the Viking Raiders. And the Viking Raiders name was actually the first name that they pitched NXT when they were in NXT. Not War Raiders. War Raiders was something that NXT gave them. The Viking, which I loved, I think that was the better name of the two, obviously, because of the whole war thing. And I think once they kind of got into the shtick and the whole gimmick, they knew it was working. And by that, they had to love it. You know, they had to love the reactions that they were getting. That was awesome. That just gave them a sense of fucking just epicness, you know? It was like, look at these war chants going on for these guys, man. It's just a fucking epic sight to behold when they come out. They got the Viking armor on. You see 19,000, 20,000 people doing that. It's fucking crazy, you know? Then the Viking Raiders name, that is what I think we're all going to sit on. That was their original thought, the original name that they wanted in NXT. So I think when we see the Viking Raiders name, it's going to be a little bit more easier to digest now knowing what we know here from Eric on what he spoke about with Corey Graves on After the Bell. That was very interesting, and I had to put that in the podcast, man. I was one who shit and constantly shits on the name. I can't still even get over Ivar and Eric. I will always still refer to them as Hanson and Rowe, but the Viking Raiders name after this, I think is going to be a little bit more easier to digest. Survivor Series. Vince McMahon was unhappy with the Survivor Series main event. The main event for Survivor Series, A, was in the wrong spot. Should have never been the main event of that show. And B, it was something that lacked intensity, and it's something that really didn't have anything going into it except a stare down between Becky Lynch and Shayna Baszler. And that was it. Bayley, no matter how many times she wants to show up in NXT or how many times she wants to sneak attack somebody on SmackDown, it's not going to get Bayley over in this sense because it was always about Becky and Shayna. Now, despite Baszler, Bayley, and Becky being three of the top females in the entire WWE, the WWE did not put this match on in the right spot, and it did not connect with the Chicago crowd. Reports have since emerged suggesting that it was only the fans in attendance, or it wasn't only the fans in attendance, or those watching at home who were not happy about the main event match. WrestleVotes reported this week that Vince McMahon wasn't pleased by the main event, and that was pretty much the end of the line. So there's no word on why Vince McMahon wasn't happy with the match, and if he was particularly angry with one of those three competitors in the match, nobody knows. So the Wrestling Observer newsletter went on to report that Vince McMahon was so mad during the match that he started yelling and telling the referee via his earpiece to change the match. He wanted more action, so McMahon sat in the back and told the women in the main event to do more high-caliber moves. Dave Meltzer says, and I quote, "There was a story going around about Vince that he was so mad, he was telling the ref high spots for them to do during the match while the match was ongoing, but those in the company have only said McMahon was mad, saying he had every right to be, but said he was not sending high spots to the referee while the match was ongoing." End quote. Now, despite winning the main event, Shayna Baszler did stand tall to close out the show. There was an obvious reason for that. Becky Lynch attacked Shayna as the show went off the air, with Lynch celebrating with her Raw Women's Championship in a losing effort. Now, Dave Meltzer also explained WWE's reasons for putting the women's triple threat match on last. It made sense on paper. No, it didn't. I don't agree with him there. But it was not a situation in the match being last and it didn't come off as WWE executing the match order well at all. I think that they felt, he says, that the number one thing they wanted to end the show with was Shayna Baszler. I think that Shayna is really high on their list of things and people they want to push as stars. I think that they felt that Becky is the biggest star, so she should go on last. And I think they expected from the build, because of all the three ways, this certainly had the best build, that it would get the most reaction, and it didn't. I mean, reasoning, I can see the reasoning why they put it on last, but you know that it didn't work out for them in that position, unfortunately. End quote. Vince is unhappy. He has every right to be unhappy. The match sucked. Whatever those women did in that match together in a triple threat fashion, it didn't work. Vince has a right to be upset. But who is he being upset with? Is he upset with Bayley? Is he upset with Becky? Shayna? You know? He could be upset with them to an extent, but at the end of the day, he should be upset with himself. He needs to look himself in the mirror for two reasons. Number one, you put that match on last. Nobody is invested like everybody in WWE on Shayna Baszler. You know, if you've been watching NXT, then you're invested in Shayna Baszler. You know Shayna is absolutely fantastic at what she does, both in delivery, execution, and what she's done to come as from where she was 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, to where she is now. The growth is absolutely amazing. Shayna is incredible at what she does. But WWE might feel one way about Shayna Baszler, that she's a big priority, that they have big plans for her, that they want to feature her in the main event spot here on Survivor Series, which is great for her. She got to main event a main roster WWE pay-per-view like Survivor Series with Becky Lynch. Great. But that doesn't mean the fans are going to be that invested and interested in Shayna Baszler, or because WWE is. You put that match on last, you better fucking deliver. And what WWE did not deliver is what the fans expected to be delivered. Everybody expected, with Shayna being there, and Becky being there, and Shayna mentioning Ronda Rousey, and Becky's feud with Ronda Rousey, that Ronda Rousey was going to show up at Survivor Series. And what did we get? No Ronda Rousey. That's it. That's your own fault. That is your own fault. WWE fucked up the build and the execution with this triple threat. Because once Shayna Baszler mentioned Ronda Rousey to Becky Lynch, that's all people wanted. They hung on to that and nothing else in regards to Shayna Baszler. They didn't care about Shayna. They didn't care about Becky. They didn't care about Bayley. All they wanted, which, by the way, Bayley was a non-factor, all they cared about was Ronda Rousey. You can't be throwing Ronda Rousey's name out there and have her be the biggest name mentioned out of the mouth in the promo with Shayna and Becky, and then not deliver Ronda Rousey. Instead, you made it about Ronda. You didn't make it about Shayna. That's it. And some of you might not be thinking that way, but that's the way people think. I looked at it as Shayna is the most dominant female on the main roster. That's what it should have been about. Becky's the man. She has a match in Shayna Baszler. Absolutely. It should have been about who the real number one female in this company is. That's the way that you should have perceived it. Some of you might have. But the casual audience, which supersedes fans like me and you, they heard Ronda Rousey. Then when the main event went on last, everybody had the same idea, even on social media during the event while the match was happening. We have to see Ronda Rousey here, right? There's no reason why this main event is happening now, right? As soon as you mention Ronda, the entire match was ruined. That's WWE's fault. And then Vince is to blame, because if you weren't going to deliver Ronda Rousey, this match shouldn't went on in the middle of the show. Brock Lesnar and Rey Mysterio should have main evented the show. I don't give a shit what anybody says. How is this match, this triple threat match with the women, more important than the WWE Championship? More important than a storyline that includes Brock Lesnar, who you squashed Kofi Kingston for, in 7 seconds. You disregarded a man's fucking 7-month title reign for Brock Lesnar. Now he's the WWE champion again. How is this more important than Lesnar winning the WWE title, engaging in a feud with Cain Velasquez, having Rey Mysterio and his son Dominic involved? Velasquez goes away, Lesnar squashes Velasquez in 2 minutes. Now it's about Lesnar and Rey and his son, and Rey getting revenge on Lesnar for what he did to his son. How is all of that? How is that all of that more important than Becky and Shayna and Bayley? Becky has died off. Becky's not the number one face in this company. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. Becky is not the number one draw in this company. No one is watching Monday Night Raw for Becky Lynch. If they were, the ratings would indicate it. Becky is not a draw. People aren't coming out to see Becky Lynch. People aren't watching this show for Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch is just there. I'm not saying Becky Lynch isn't great at what she does, but clearly Becky Lynch cannot operate unless you have a Sasha Banks or a Charlotte or a Ronda Rousey. That's your job now, to assess this situation and start building Shayna Baszler up when you start developing plans for the eventual feud with Becky Lynch. Because that ending to that match, all that was a precursor to what we're going to be seeing. Come 2020, Becky Lynch and Shayna Baszler is happening on Raw. Another reason why this match sucked was because you made it about Ronda Rousey. You made it about Shayna and Becky. Where was Bayley? Where was Bayley? Did Becky and Shayna do their thing? Yeah, but you obviously excluded Bayley. Bayley had no heat going into this thing. None. And again, once you mention Ronda, all of your feud went right out the window. So they should have looked at themselves and thought, well, we don't have Ronda, so I don't think this is good in the main event spot. But they ended up putting it in the main event spot anyway. Vince McMahon is to blame for his unhappiness. That's the way I see it. Now, the main roster is upset following the Survivor Series. The main roster is upset. Why? For the same reasons I told you before NXT went to the USA Network at 2 hours. Keith Lee, Shayna Baszler, the NXT women, Pete Dunne, Adam Cole, everybody on NXT looked so much better than the WWE main roster at Survivor Series. Clearly, WWE used Survivor Series and the numerous invasions to try and build the NXT brand. Clearly, this is what they wanted. They loaded the show up for the go-home show for Survivor Series because they knew it was the only way to beat AEW in the ratings, and they did it. Now what's going to happen come this week, and the next week after that, and the next week after that? Everybody's got to go back to their own fucking playground, right? So, the strategy worked. The strategy now is dead until NXT invades the main roster in 2020 for the next year's Survivor Series, which I hope they change and work on, because the format of this year's Survivor Series was a little ridiculous. NXT beat AEW in the ratings, barely. It was only about 25,000, I think. WWE was probably very happy about winning a Wednesday night against AEW. However, this NXT push may have come at a cost. Now, Sportskeeda is reporting some of the main roster is not very happy at the moment. Now, that is added on top of the unhappiness that they're feeling with certain people not wanting to be there, which is obviously getting back to WWE management and them now contemplating that they should let some of these guys go because they're giving off a bad vibe backstage as far as WWE morale goes. So they say, and I quote, "While many in the Raw and SmackDown locker rooms believe this has been good for business and have been vocally happy to put over their colleagues in NXT, there are quite a few people who feel the NXT's ascension has negatively impacted the perception of what was previously termed the main roster. Sources indicate that some talent have concerns about a lack of screen time to when the wildcard rule was in operation. Now, they say, in closing, that Survivor Series was particularly low for some members of the roster." End quote. Who's complaining? Who's complaining? That show was loaded from top to bottom with all of the major acts in WWE. So much so that WWE put on a fucking tag team battle royal to get all those extra guys that might not have been included on the main show on the actual show. Now, we all know the pre-show is not a part of the actual show, but at least they made effort to give those guys work and load the pay-per-view. I don't necessarily agree with that. I don't think that anybody, on the show deserves to be on the pay-per-view like a WrestleMania, 7 hours long. Being that you got to get everybody on the show, I think that's a terrible way to go about business. I think that's a terrible mentality. You work all year. If you do what you need to do during the year and you fucking exceed expectations, yeah, you deserve a spot at WrestleMania. You're not going to give a WrestleMania spot to some fucking loser who's been sitting on his ass all year. No matter if they haven't given him anything to do or not. You're not going to put a fucking Titus O'Neil on WrestleMania. Give me a break. Who are these people complaining? Who are these people complaining? I don't know. More than likely, it's the fucking D Squad who did not appear on the show. Tough shit. WWE could honestly, WWE made it that everybody got a chance by doing the fucking triple threat theme. They didn't have to do the triple threat theme for the men's Survivor Series matches and the women's Survivor Series matches. They didn't have to do that. The far better way to do it would have been Raw and SmackDown versus NXT. I didn't see any real issue between Raw and SmackDown. Raw wasn't invading SmackDown, and SmackDown wasn't invading Raw. Most of the weeks, it was NXT invading Raw and NXT invading SmackDown, and then Raw showing up on NXT, and then SmackDown showing up on NXT. Really, the build should have been NXT versus Raw and SmackDown. Both of those men's and women's teams should have been 4-on-4 or 5-on-5. And it should have been a mixture of SmackDown and Raw guys teaming up for the common good to take out NXT. That's what it should be. Not Raw, not NXT, and not SmackDown, all in the same fucking match. Now, for the singles champions, the triple threat way is good. That's the way you go about it. But the men's teams and the women's teams should have been Raw and SmackDown versus NXT. Now, there is unhappiness, but wherever it's coming from Raw and SmackDown, so be it. So be it. I could see Andrade being upset, Andrade being left off the Survivor Series card. That's a fucking absolutely asinine decision. Aleister Black being left off the Survivor Series pay-per-view. I think that's an asinine decision. Guys like that, I can understand, right? Humberto Carrillo, yeah, but he just got there. He's just getting his feet wet. Why? And who the fuck is he to be getting upset over shit like that? Now, the unhappiness, there might be some unhappiness. Guys like that. The other guys, they got no reason to be upset because WWE doesn't give a shit about them to begin with. WWE has no plans to push you. You have no business being on a pay-per-view to begin with. The negativity is coming from the NXT locker room. The negativity is coming from the NXT locker room. More so, I think, in this situation. And more so because they are now at 2 hours, and it was a breeding ground for opportunity in NXT. Those guys coming out of the PC, how much more harder do you think it's going to be for those guys coming out of the PC to get a spot on the main show now that is NXT on Wednesday? It's going to be very difficult. Absolutely ridiculous to get a spot on that show because WWE is going to load that show up with all their big name talent. They're going to continue pushing their big name talent in hopes to beat AEW. That goes to the men and the women. So all those opportunities that were once available at 1 hour are not going to be available at 2 hours now. Because WWE is going to load that show up with all their big guns in NXT. And then when necessary, they're going to bring main roster talents like Balor, possibly like an Owens, who knows who's next, to NXT to bolster that roster so it gives them a better opportunity to beat AEW, which means your opportunity gets pushed down even further and at a point becomes non-existent. That's where the unhappiness comes from. I don't know why anybody's upset following the Survivor Series. The ones that should be upset is the NXT locker room and the guys that wanted an opportunity, and that opportunity may never come now. The guys who are upset on the main roster, most of it, not all, but most of it comes from the fucking F squad that remains in catering. They want to bitch. These are the same people that bitched and moaned on the plane in Saudi Arabia. That they weren't a part of the SmackDown 20. Save me your fucking tears. Reason why the triple threat match for Survivor Series was in the main event. They felt like they wanted to end the show with Shayna, says Dave Meltzer. I think that Shayna is really high on their list of things. I think that they felt Becky is the biggest star so she could go on last. And because of the build. Now, it was reported yesterday that Shayna Baszler was wanted on the main roster, and they have big plans for her on the main roster, and more than likely Rhea Ripley is going to become the NXT Women's Champion. They wanted to push Shayna. Instead of giving Shayna a win and not really going out there and making it seem like it's a forced fucking agenda, the match, honestly, like I said before, I don't want to spend too much more time on this. They should have put this in the middle of the card. Putting it on last without delivering Ronda Rousey just kind of comes off as desperate. You're pushing for something so much in Shayna instead of letting it happen naturally. Not everyone on the main roster clearly yet understands who Shayna Baszler is. You need to have her tell her story and get her feet wet on the main roster before you start putting this woman in the main event. She's never main evented an NXT show, so why are you having her main event a main roster show? It doesn't make any sense to me. She's not at that level yet. Instead of letting things naturally happen, WWE again is going to fuck things up, rush, push things faster than they are intended to be pushed, and then Shayna Baszler is going to fall out of good favor with everybody watching. That's their fucking plan. Shayna Baszler is reportedly wanted on the main roster. No shit. No shit. Meltzer says this in correlation with that other report. I don't know. I mean, she could lose the NXT Women's title to Rhea Ripley, go to the main roster. She should go to the main roster at this point, but they may not be wanting to do that right now. I think every hint that I have of later, it's not directly told, but I absolutely have gotten hints about a lot of different things. It seems to indicate to me that Shayna is wanted on the main roster. Clearly. Clearly she's wanted on the main roster. And you got to strike while the iron is hot. Seriously. She is 38, 39 years old from what I found out this week. She don't look it at all. But you got to strike while the iron is hot. I don't know what they're waiting for. It's going to be very difficult for Triple H to part with somebody like Shayna who's owned that division. But with the progress of Rhea Ripley and her not being forced upon everybody and things happening in a natural way, putting the title on her is going to be a little bit more easier to digest, and then seeing Shayna Baszler go on to the main roster is going to be a little bit more easier to digest. So, with Shayna reportedly being wanted on the main roster, I don't have any hope in WWE booking Shayna Baszler the right way. I don't. The only thing that needs to happen is her beating Becky Lynch and her becoming the Raw Women's Champion. Simple as that. How you include Ronda Rousey in that, that's why you employ creative writers. Tell a story. Now, there were some fools in wrestling social media land. Baszler is now reportedly the all-time longest reigning NXT Women's Champion. And I laughed at this. I'm like, what? No, she's not. She defeated Asuka's record, according to the parasites on social media. She defeated Asuka's record and is currently holding the title for 521 days and counting with 2 combined reigns. It should be noted that Asuka's reign was at 510 days as 1 reign as champion. So WWE is looking to break records by combining reigns. You don't do that. You don't do that. 1 reign, and that length of the reign is what you go on. Simple. Simple. People on social media saying Baszler surpassed Asuka. No, she didn't. On what fucking planet do you combine reigns and then compare it to Asuka's 1 reign? Fucking idiots. Absolute idiots. Finally, guys, I'm about to get out of here. But I got one more story on Becky Lynch here. She threw shade at the WWE Women's Tag Team division. So, it was announced that Becky Lynch had become the longest reigning Raw Women's Champion of all time by overtaking Ronda Rousey's record of 232 days. Well, it's not that difficult to fucking surpass Ronda Rousey when Becky has no fucking competition. It's a feat that Becky is surely proud of. After all, it's not every day you hold on to a belt that long in WWE, but when you got no competition, it's not that difficult. So Becky took to Twitter to react to the news and throw some major shade at the women's tag team division. Or the women's division in general, or the Raw creative in general. I've just become the longest reigning Raw Women's Champion, so I'm thrilled to be in the women's tag team division right now. Given that it was Charlotte and Becky versus the Kabuki Warriors, and that we'll more than likely see them in a TLC match in 3 weeks, this is pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. WWE has the most stacked women's roster across all three brands in the history of this company. NXT's women's division has never looked better, ever. This is the absolute peak for the NXT women's division. They could actually pull some women from NXT and actually bolster the main roster, but they refuse to do so. I don't know how Triple H is feeling about pulling anybody from NXT right now, being that his show is absolutely slaying everything and operating on all cylinders. It is inexcusable that Becky Lynch has no competition on these shows. Look at the women that they've put her up against. Kairi Sane is not really looked at as a threat. Asuka, WWE is revisiting this feud from a year ago now. 12 months later. Are you serious? And nobody believes Asuka is going to beat Becky Lynch for the title because everybody's expecting Shayna to come up and feud with Becky Lynch. That's the money feud. Becky has no other competition in that division. Charlotte, spare me. We've seen it over and over and over again. Stop it. It's not interesting. Natalya? Nobody gives a shit about Natalya. Who else is on the Monday Night Raw roster? I have no clue. I have absolutely no clue. That roster is one of the weakest it's been. And because they have Asuka and Kairi Sane as tag team champions, yeah, they can operate as singles, but WWE doesn't operate that way. And Charlotte, nobody wants to see Charlotte as women's champion. They've done nothing to surround Becky with enough sufficient competition for her reign to mean anything. Lacey Evans, and now we got this. And Sasha. Sasha's reign, or Sasha's time on Raw, was decent. I didn't really sit here all that thrilled with Sasha's reign or her heel turn. The match that resulted in that Hell in a Cell with Becky Lynch was great, but Sasha really didn't look good coming out of that because Sasha, coming back the way that she did after all that time off, she realistically should have been the face and the champion of a division. And WWE didn't do that. They just shipped her over to SmackDown Live. They've done nothing to bolster that roster around Becky Lynch. And it sucks. It really sucks. It's inexcusable that Becky Lynch has to throw shade like this at the Raw women's roster, being that she's thrilled, and you sense the sarcasm in the word thrilled, to be in the tag team division. Why is that? They got her in a tag team division because they got no fucking competition on the roster for her in the singles division. It sucks. So they need to fix that and quick. SmackDown isn't looking any better either. Not with Carmella and Dana Brooke over there and Lacey fucking Evans. That ain't looking any good either. I don't know what happened to these divisions, but they somehow got worse after the WWE draft. Guys, I'm getting out of here. Holy shit, what a show. I'll be back tomorrow. I got more tomorrow. If you guys want to know what I got tomorrow on part 2 of 302, injury update on Bobby Fish. How's he feeling after that scary spot on NXT this week? Plans for Brock Lesnar going into the Royal Rumble. Lana signs a multi-year contract with the WWE. Rollins' heel turn will be the major story. Rollins possibly completing the heel turn at TLC. And Vince already done with Humberto Carrillo. That comes to the surprise of nobody. And then update for NXT going on into 2020. Their update and future coming out of Full Sail University. Will they still be in Full Sail? WWE announces the World Collide during the Royal Rumble pay-per-view weekend. And the change to the NXT TakeOver calendar. Why they are doing stand-alone events. Guys, I am getting out of here. Hit that thumbs up down below. Turn on that bell for all notifications while you hit that subscribe button. Thank you guys so much for joining me here on the podcast. If you missed anything else on the channel, links will be down below for all the videos that you might have missed this weekend. And if you guys want to support my sponsors, every little bit helps, man. I love that you guys love the show, but helping the sponsors goes a long way. It tells them how powerful we are here as a team, as a unit, as a channel. So every little bit, signing up for Audible, signing up for Harry, signing up for The Ridge, shows them what we do here and the power and influence that this podcast has on the community. So today, sign up for Harry's, harrys.com/script. Make sure you guys sign up for The Ridge, ridge.com/script. Use those codes, script at checkout for The Ridge, 10% off. audibletrial.com/offthescript. You guys get 30 days and a free audiobook on Audible. Every little bit helps. Patreon.com/JD206 if you guys want to support the podcast. And follow me on social media at JD206 on both Twitter and Instagram. Guys, I'm getting out of here. I'm going to have myself a cold beverage this afternoon in celebration of 302. Thank you guys so much. Hit that thumbs up, and I'll see you right back here tomorrow afternoon on Sunday with more OTS. Until then, have a great Saturday, and I'll see you guys right back here same time for OTS Part 2 of 302.